Eric A, that's you.
Okay. So Eric, did you have anything that you wanted to bring to the show tonight? Tell us a little bit about what you're doing, maybe differently from the rest of us, or any tips and things?
Well, what I'm getting from is, I'm pretty active. I'm on the IRC chat daily, and I spend, at least 3, 4 hours on there a day helping, contributing and also getting just loads of information from it. But what I've noticed the topic coming up a lot is people want to talk about their websites and optimizing their sites for search engine ranking and doing the on-page SEO and building an effective AdWords campaign. And it's very difficult because we want to advertise our business, we want to do everything we can, but it's very, very hard to be on the first page of Google unless you know what you're doing and with the proper effort. So that's one thing I wanted to go over today.
Okay, I've looked at your website, and I have to say, man, I am jealous. Your website looks amazing. Did you
I
did you do that yourself?
No, actually, so what I did was I used a content management system, the CMS called WordPress, and through GoDaddy hosting, I installed the WordPress. I deployed WordPress. I set up a MySQL database, linked that to it. I purchased a theme online through themeforest.net.
Hmm.
I spent maybe 35 bucks on it, man, and got loads of support. Really, with little skill in HTML, a little bit of CSS, and maybe Google a couple PHP edits, you can very easily create your own site, get it launched up to date, and it literally works for me. I mean, it's just been an amazing thing.
I noticed you have a lot of actual content on your site too. It looks like you're updating it quite often with your recent posts and little tips and stuff for people. That's nice. I like that.
Yeah, man, I'm trying to get comfortable in front of the camera. I'm starting to do some, I guess, video posts on there. Every time I do a blog post, I'll link a video on, and that's something I'm recently doing. But also, don't get confused. I'd say maybe 20% of those posts that I'm doing are aggregated content. They're content that posts that I find off other blogs that I find to be interesting, and it's good to share knowledge. So I go on my own site and I'll post the article and I'll put a go to source, giving the original author credit that way. I mean, but it's all about just linking and building a good circle between building a network of just good information.
Yeah, I think yeah, I know the linking to other people's things like that though. But if you're a new customer and you're looking for a computer repair shop around Austin, Texas, though, you go to a website that looks like this, and you've got all this stuff to look at and maybe a quick answer to a problem that they have just sitting there. That means a lot, I think, to a customer. Now on SEO, did you do anything special there for search engine optimization for your website?
It's funny that you say that, man, because I've literally spent months on it. I mean, it takes forever to get any kind of decent ranking, just starting from on page. There's so much to do. You have on page SEO, you have all your off page backlinking, you're creating your link circle, which I'll talk about later on, and submitting your site to different search engines and indexes. There's just so much work behind it, and a lot of it kind of gets put on the backlog because a lot of us, we're more concerned about the jobs we have in front of us. But in order to
Right.
effectively build a good, good new business development, I guess, campaign, you want to start and use your website the way it should.
Yeah, I think a
And
lot of us, me included, we kind of build a website, get it out there, and then it's back to the bench. But that doesn't grow your business much doing it that way.
it's funny because if you talk to any of the guys on the chat, I've literally changed my site. I don't know how many times. It's every time. Well, at least recently, the past 5 days, I haven't really touched it. But that's funny because I'll go on there and update the slider, or I'll do something, a piece of code or a picture I didn't like. But yeah, man, I love it. I'm always tweaking it. I'm always working on my site, and it's fun. It really does help out.
Yeah, if you know what you're doing, it helps. I mean, I learned a little bit back with Dreamweaver, and this looks a lot cleaner than anything I could have done. But I think it helps to have like the WordPress. And once the thing I've noticed about website building and things like that is if you're in it every day, it's fairly easy to do some changes. But if you get away from it for a while, then you got to relearn it. Just you have to relearn everything again.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
So the thing about the WordPress community, and which I love because I've used other CMSs, I've used Drupal, I've used Joomla, which I wasn't too turned on about, but WordPress, it has a huge community of just contributors. I mean, there's so many developers in all different countries that are all willing to help. On the Freenode server, there's Pound WordPress, which is amazing free help. And if you have a question on how to do something, or you know a simple HTML to a difficult call to action PHP script, then you can find the help, and either by looking at wordpress.com, wordpress.org, or going to pound WordPress on Freenode, on the Freenode server.
Yeah, those things are very helpful. I've never even been to any of that stuff yet. I've just
Oh
got a
man.
basic website. But yeah, what yours looks like, man, is amazing compared to mine. Now, how are you doing in your page rankings as far as Austin goes? Now that you've done a lot of this work, how's it going?
Locale, I'm ranking fairly first page for, I'd say, a handful of keywords, which is what you're going to get. There's three different type, or really two different types of organic ranking. There you have your organic, which is the below the paid ads and below Google Maps, and then you start off with your organic listing there, and then you have the Google Maps, which everybody wants to be on because everyone wants to see that you're on the front page, you're on the first listing of Google Maps, and you have loads of reviews. But for the most part, I'm ranking on the first page of Google for a handful of keywords, and nationally, which I thought was funny. If you Google remotes, let me actually find it here. If you Google nationwide remote support, I'm on the first page, which I thought was pretty amazing, but that's nationally.
Wow.
So I know I was impressed with that. Not
Now,
to talk about myself.
well, that's okay. That's what you're here for. Do you do a lot of remote support too?
I do. I do Austin, Texas. I do Dallas. I do Houston. I'm kind of in the region here, mainly in Texas. I've had a couple calls in Colorado, and I got fun with it, and I posted an ad in Denver, and I got a couple calls from it. But uh, that's the direction I see my business going. It's a lot of overhead, at least when you are going on site. You have gas prices that are going up. You have tools that you got to lug around with you, and if you want to expand your business and not plateau at a certain point, you're going to notice that there's only a certain amount of hours a day that you can actually knock out customers, and after that, you're spent for time. You can't expand your business outwards. So I see the business, at least my business model, going more into a remote support direction. Yeah.
And do you want to go into some programs or things that help you do the remote support that you use?
It all depends on the client, really. I use, of course, TeamViewer. If you go to my site, itconflict.com, go to services and nationwide remote support, you'll see that I have a quick download for TeamViewer for each different platform on Windows and Linux, and I believe I have Mac OS on there as well. But TeamViewer is a cheap, free, awesome. Well, if you're using it for business, you're going to spend $700. But TeamViewer is great. If you have a client that wants more managed services, that's going to be calling you for a lot more things. LogMeIn is just amazing. The control panel, just the organization of it is just awesome. So I'd say either TeamViewer or LogMeIn. Yeah, definitely.
So you use them both then
I use
yourself?
them both. I
Yeah.
use them both
Well,
depending on the client.
I've used LogMeIn. I've looked at TeamViewer. I've never really used it, but yeah, LogMeIn is amazing. It's really, I really have been happy with times I've used it.
And you have Crossloop too. I mean, Crossloop is another popular program that I think that people use, that I've seen used. But me, I just stick with what I know, and that's LogMeIn and TeamViewer.
Yeah, I've probably tried a handful of different ones myself, and I've never warmed up to any of them 100% yet. Dude,
Yeah.
back to your website. How do you go to for how do you handle a person paying you for an on-site or remote visit like that?
So for remote support, normally when I guess the process is when they call in, I'll speak to the customer, I'll get some information on them, and they'll actually go to my site. And from my site, you can, for the most part, they'll go to support and then click on new support ticket. And what this does is it helps me kind of solve the problem, or I guess help my customers from problem to resolution. And it provides a database of all the of different support tickets they had issues. It stays up online, so they can go on here at any time, and if the same issue occurs, they can go on my site, type in their ticket ID and email, and all the information will be there. So the first thing would be is they submit a support ticket. Two, I get assigned it's assigned to a technician, which is in this case me, and then I'll give them a call and set up a remote session and go from there.
Now, saying the technician is as far as you said you have some consultants that work under you.
Yeah.
How are you handling that? How do you do that?
So
They,
I'll do my own shopping on Craigslist sometimes, or depends on the different depends on the project really. But if it's something that's local and I need to do like a kind of like a system drop where a new company came on board and they they have 30 machines they want to set up and a couple servers, then yeah, I'll hire two consultants. I'll pay them as contractors, and they'll go in with me, and I'll sort of play foreman, I guess, or if that's the right word. But general
oh, okay.
contractors, what I'll do. Yeah. I'll be the I'll be the lead guy on site, and they'll answer to me. They'll represent my company. They do a non-disclosure agreement, all that work, but it's worth it because you can knock out those bigger jobs that way.
Yeah, then you're ready to handle any situation that way too. And then also those businesses are going to talk to other businesses and say, hey, yeah, this guy got us set up nice. He had
Yep.
his guys. Make now. Do you have an actual physical shop where you're at in Austin?
At the moment, no, I don't. I moved into an office for literally 2 months, and I just couldn't do it. I was no one was showing up really. I had terrible signage. It was such a big waste of money. I was spending, you know, $600-700 to have this tiny 14 by 14 room, and no one ever went. So I couldn't justify the cost. I had to get rid of it, and yeah, I'm operating out of my home, and it works great.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of technicians, myself included, my front part of my house is my office. This is what you're looking at here in the video. But this is my bench over to the right, and when you walk in the front door, I've got a huge counter where people drop their stuff off. And I've always wondered if I was going to pull the plug and actually, rent a place down the street from here, and I haven't done it yet. And some people have really good luck with it, with just having the walk-in traffic, and then a lot of people, don't have so much. Now, do you think do you do a lot of on-site work then too?
I do, but the way I've actually set it up is I have a drop-off location, and it's different to where about a year ago I was actually having to run around and telling customers, "Oh, I'll either go pick your computer up and fix it within 24 to 48 hours, or I'll fix it on site." So I noticed that in order to get more out of my day, out of my 8 hours that I'm out in the field, I decided to set up a box with one of these, unless with pack mail, where customers can go in and they can drop their computer off, and it's covered under the insurance there with the postal service, or with the pack mail, which is the carrier. But yeah, so customers can either have me go on site pick it up. They can either pay me by the hour, or they can drop their systems off here at this drop off location, and I pick them up at the end of the day, fix them overnight, and then drop them back off. So it kind of lets me knock out more computer systems.
Pack mail, that's like a UPS FedEx store kind of thing that you have in
Yeah,
town. Is it?
exactly. Yeah, it's just like FedEx.
Oh, okay. That's really neat. Did you have anything else you wanted to bring?
Yeah, so I don't know if want to get too much into this, but going back to the websites, I think that it's you need to have a good site. It's great to have a site that works, because and that works for you in the sense that you have great information on it, you have a support ticket system on it, because all of my customers, they absolutely love it. And I've serviced a little over maybe 1,200 clients in the past 3 4 years, but every single one of my clients that's had a chance to submit a support ticket and kind of go through that with me, they love it. I mean, it's awesome because it'll eliminate the phone calls or the unneeded emails. They'll just submit a support ticket. I get a text on my phone. I immediately know so and so needs help, and I'll set up an appointment immediately. So it's a good way to streamline your support requests from your clients.
So that's just one more way of them getting a hold of you to get their computer fixed.
Oh yeah, definitely. Um, it works a lot better that way, rather than having to answer the phone if you're on site with a client, and it just gets Disrespectful.